Okay, welcome to the May 18th Idea Share. I'm Beth Golick from Key Ministry, and Catherine Boyle from the Key Ministry team is here as well. And wow, we just continue to have a great group jumping on here. So I will open it up to whoever would like to start. So what's going on this week? Has anybody opened up their church for this past Sunday? Anything new happening? I'll give you a chance to unmute and contribute if you're ready.
Hey, it's Heather from Savannah. We actually do have a family meeting tonight scheduled at 7 o'clock. So our pastor's going to go through with our congregation some of the expectation and a timeline. And so next week we'll know more as he rolls out to the congregation. Then we can actually talk more about it. But we want to go back just like everybody else. You want to go back, but the way that we currently do worship is it's not safe to go back at this time. And a lot of our teams continue to say it just would be weird. Kids can't social distance well. The way we worship and we sing and things like that, it's just, it would be not safe. And so just like everybody else, that's the one thing we're trying to communicate to our congregants and to our friends that, you know, we want to go back. We are not able to go back until it's safe. So our governor still has social distancing in order until June 12th. So it won't be any time before then that we're able to come together. So we're going to still continue to do what we can from home. And we're still, what I'm trying to do during this time is to really try to increase my knowledge of things that I feel I'm deficient in. With my particular position, I was an admin who had a heart for special needs. And then two departments joined, and when we joined those two departments, they didn't need two admins. And so I volunteered in that ministry for a long time, and then I said, hey, I want to do this, and they allowed me the awesome opportunity to be able to lead that. So formal education is not something I have in this area like maybe some of you. So I am just working a lot toward personal development and professional development. So, yeah, that's
Heather, we are so glad you are on this, that you've been attending these idea shares, because I know I learn a lot each week, and I hope this is giving you that opportunity as well. So thank you for sharing. And you're in Savannah, you said, is that correct?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
While I have the floor for just a moment, one thing that I have really enjoyed doing is participating in TCU's free seminars that they have. And one of the things that they are offering right now, I think through June 30th, is tbri, which is trust-based relational intervention. And for anybody who works with kids, who what she calls, Karen Purvis calls kids from hard places, that does not necessarily mean that you have a child that is at risk for lots of behavioral types of things. It can be at risk due to birth and pregnancy and all types of things. So if anyone is interested, I can give you the link. It is a phenomenal, some of it is a lot of, is the neuroscience and things like that behind it, but a lot of really great practical tips on dealing with kids from where she calls hard places.
That's great. So Heather, if you wouldn't mind emailing me that link at beth@keyministry.org, we will include that link with the recording of this video.
I will do. Thank
you. By
the
way, Heather is getting a shout out from Ryan Wolf, who says, Heather does a great job at Compassion Christian Church.
Thank you.
I can believe that. All right. Who else wants to talk about what's going on at their church currently?
I will. So for us with Grace Church, they actually this past weekend was their first phase of reopening. Our first phase, though, is what we're calling home church. So it's different than what we have had in the past with just everyone doing church at home. It's actually now encouraging people to have up to 10 people in homes to do church and groups in homes. And so did that this weekend. And then next weekend, they're actually opening up for our first services. There will be no children's ministry at all. There'll be no special needs ministry with that. It'll just be the worship service. You have to RSVP in order to attend. All staff, all volunteers will be in masks and gloves. And then they're going to have, I'm not sure yet, but it may end up being assigned seating then with it, so that everyone has the physical, I like to say physical distancing instead of the social distancing, because we still need to be social through it, but we need to make sure there won't be handshaking or any contact like that at all. And then after that, we'll move into the next phase. That'll probably won't be for another month or so. At that point, then they would add in the children's ministry just for elementary. Still would not add in any nursery or preschool. And then at the same time, while adding all this in, would have they would have buddies as needed for families with disabilities. While doing all of this for the sanctuary, they are going to have a sensory-friendly room for worship for our families with disabilities if they come for that. And then eventually at some unknown point, they'll then start being able to bring back nursery and preschool as well. So right now it's about a 4-phase step, and they'll just take it at a time. But right now everyone's going to have to RSVP to be able to come in.
Great, thanks for sharing. So for those of you who don't know, Doc is in the state of Kansas. So I know we're all kind of from different states, and our states are kind of in different degrees of, re-entry at this point. When you said there's going to be a sensory-friendly area, Doc, is that, like, I'm picturing your church, because I've been to his church, and I'm picturing the worship services going on in your, in your sanctuary, so that other room, like when you walk in from the back parking lot and turn left, is that going to be like a stream-in sensory?
No, it'll probably be one of the downstairs rooms, especially since right now at first they're not doing the children, so it'll probably be in the kids worship area or one of the other larger rooms that they can open up for that, where they can stream the service down and then set up chairs in there at a distance area with that for them. So one of those two. They're probably good. That other room, they're probably going to use that as well, just since they're not going to be able to have as many people.
Right.
I don't know the number that they're going to limit to, but I do know they've got a hard number that they're going to limit to. Nor do I know, normally they have 4 services every weekend, 1 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. And I haven't heard yet the actual number of services, because after the service is done, everybody has to get out of the building completely, and they have to completely clean the entire building before anyone's allowed back in. And so that's going to take some significant time as well with that. So I think that there's going to be at least an hour now between services instead of the 20 minutes or whatever there had been in the past.
Right. Good point. Who else wants to report on what their church is doing?
I was going to say out here in California, we are definitely not looking to really gather at our building in any capacity till probably September or October, depending on who makes that call. So we've been talking so we have these really large parks in our town. We have several of them. And so we talked about in the summer, we expect around July to be able to meet in smaller groups of like 10 to 15. So we talked about having some time kind of in conjunction with a summer camp programming, having like 10 or 15 kids like from a family unit come together and do water guns or some kind of like social physical distancing activity, mostly probably with our junior high and high school and college age like kind of buddies and volunteers. So we've been looking at that, trying to utilize a lot of our outdoor space for the summer. Our church also has a really, really large field behind it. And so we've been talking about ways to, we also have a preschool on campus, so we're trying to figure out how, if we extend our fencing, if we can accommodate more people and split people up that way. Because yeah, we're not looking until the fall for sure. So we're trying to get some outdoor creativity for the summer for kids and families, because that seems to be what we'll be allowed to do and what families feel fairly safe doing.
Yeah. And so I know for all of us, all of our local school districts have different end dates, and that might determine how some of your programming is going to go. Bronwyn, when does, like, your school districts, when do they kind of end their virtual learning for the year?
I think it's around like June 14th, I think, and we're supposed to be back in school August 27th. So.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else want to share what their church is up to these days?
I'd be happy to share. This is Patrick. I'm in Rochester, New York, up by Buffalo, and I'm in the Episcopal Diocese here, and we are not looking to fully open for at least 2 years. Right now, worship is being led from home, and we may start having small groups lead worship from church sanctuaries, say groups of 10, maybe in a few months. A lot of the caution certainly is following guidelines, and also because most of our congregations are in the elderly group that is in high risk. As far as my own ministry around disability, I'm a person who lives with cerebral palsy. I'm also a priest in the diocese, so it's really my own leadership where my interest lies, and also I work with an agency that supports individuals living in group homes and working day programs, individuals with developmental disabilities.
So I so appreciate that you've been joining these idea shares, because yeah, we appreciate the perspective that you're bringing, and that you're in the clergy as well. So that's great. 2 years, did I hear you say 2 years? Like that's already being communicated with your membership?
2 years, yes. The bishop has started to communicate that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a long time, and it's quite a change. Yeah.
Wow. I received a communication from a church in Ohio, and they are, so not my church, but they're adding a Saturday service so that they can space out the services better to accommodate more people. They're going to be roping off every other row. No children's ministry for the foreseeable future. And the pastor said these guidelines were written in Jello, so basically could change at any point. So, and I feel like a lot of churches are at that point right now. Like, we could make some decisions now, but boy, in a couple weeks things could really change. That's why I'm surprised that that's gutsy. Put it out there 2 years.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that there'll be some flexibility in that, and it will be a shorter time, but yeah. Our bishop really doesn't want us to get our hopes up, I think.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, okay.
Beth, can I jump in here with the thing I sent you and Steve today? Yeah. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to screen share for a second, because I saw a resource that I thought would be, really helpful for this conversation. So, so over here, this is on the coronavirusandthechurch.com website. So if you go to that website, they have some of their latest articles at the top. And so there's this one called Relaunching the Church. I thought this was really excellent. I found this actually this morning. And so it's a presentation by Ed Stetzer, but it also has a PowerPoint that you can download. And so, shoot, I already have it on my computer. Let's see if, actually, I think that's it right there. So like they have things like, I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but they have these things like the balcony seating layout, for churches that have, in main level, you can see there. They have lots of other things that show hold on a second. You know, different considerations as we're moving through all of various phases that we find ourselves in our, you know, our unique state, unique congregations. So I'll share the link to both the video presentation and the PowerPoint in the comments, and we can share that on the video when we post it on our Vimeo and YouTube pages this afternoon too.
Great, thank you. That looks like good information. Thank you, Catherine. In the chat, it was asked, Doc, would love to hear more particulars about the sensory-friendly worship room setup, physical distancing, and other requirements using volunteers, etc., as the plan comes together. Thank you. So I don't know if you might not be prepared now, but if you could keep us posted on that. If you have anything to share now, please do. And if not, we'll.
Yeah, right now I don't know what it all looks like, so I'll keep you posted as I learn. But usually, you know, what I'm guessing it'll probably be is that they'll have they'll have some you know, toys and different sensory items in the room there for the individuals with disabilities to use them as needed. And then probably they'll set up chairs and have them separated out for families to be able to sit by themselves and try to separate out at least 6 feet apart with that in there. And that's about all I can guess right now, but I'll let you know as I learn more with it.
Great, thank you. Was it on this forum that somebody mentioned they're using Eventbrite? Or no, Catherine, was that you? Catherine, was that you that mentioned Eventbrite as like a platform for?
I don't remember where I heard it. Was it, I don't know, was it one of you guys?
I don't know, does this sound new to anybody?
So I heard that there were churches somewhere, I don't know where, if it was where I live in Virginia or if it was somewhere else, that is having people sign up so that, you know, they know how many people are planning to come to each service that's offered, to make sure that there's going to be enough seats, you know, that are adequately spaced. So, you know, it seems like a great idea to use those kind of online tools for this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it was one of you, but if so, thanks. All right, Catherine did share the link for those of you who are on this call right now. She shared the link to the Ed Stetzer video, but again, we'll have the link on our recording as well. Who else has something to share or a question to ask? I know that as a result of these meetings, my church is now looking at a virtual Bible experience, you know, kind of like a vacation Bible school type thing. And so I've taken a lot of what you all have shared. So one thing I'm going to be looking for, ideas for kind of social distancing games. So like Bronwyn, when you were talking about at some point, and it might be July, when you're going to start trying to get people together outside, you know, like either in that space behind your church or in a, you know, public park or whatever. What are some games that maybe family units can do together so that they're not like two in each other's spaces or sharing too many of the same materials, but kind of socially appropriate, social distancing appropriate games. So that's something I'm really interested in and would love to hear if anybody has ideas for that.
I can actually help out with that.
Okay.
I'm actually on a national camp site and everything, and and this isn't disability camps, it's all camps, and so we're all talking through how we can do camps and everything, and there's all kinds of great things coming out, and anything from games that you can do on Zoom to social distancing games. So I can get all that and share. But there's a ton of great things that's out.
Will you be able to join in on the roundtable this Wednesday?
Yes, I'm planning on being there.
So let me put a plug for that in, because if anybody's interested in that type of thing, so this Wednesday at noon Eastern time, so the same time as this thing, Key Ministry is hosting a roundtable. So again, it's this format where we can all see and hear each other. We are hosting a meeting on virtual respite. So obviously we're not getting together with our students and families. So what are some ways we can kind of provide that, that type of ministry and that connection during this time. Allison, I'm hoping you can join us, because I know you've been doing a lot of cool things at your church. So yay. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. You just go to keyministry.org/events and get registered, and hopefully we'll see this whole entire group as part of that on Wednesday. There's some stuff going on in the chat, so let me just make sure we cover it all. I told you about the link. Jennifer is saying that they're going to reopen in mid-July or August, and they'll have a sign up to attend. So again, that's kind of to help whoever's doing the seating make sure that there's enough seats for the people that are coming. Heather has shared the link to the Trust-Based Relational Intervention Series. Actually, it's pretty short, so I'm going to just go ahead and say it in case anybody is listening to this or is on a phone and can't see the chat. It's child.tcu.edu/tbri. Autumn is looking looking at doing a Kahoot live game application. I'm doing that as well, looking at that too. So yeah, so these are just things that we are going to continue to have to learn and develop and implement because yeah, I don't see us getting back into our regular way of doing things anytime soon.
I was gonna say, as far as like games, like socially, distant games or whatever, we've already done a couple scavenger hunts that have been pretty popular. So, people can do it within their family unit. And we could certainly do that at one of our like large parks. We have probably 4 or 5 parks that would be pretty conducive to that in our town. And then we have, they're called Stomp Rockets. I don't know if you guys, it's yeah. So we've had those, right? Like a family unit. There's one that we have that you can have like multiple, like you can have like 3 kids stomping on it, like, 3 siblings. And so you have to be pretty far apart anyway to do that. So we've thought about those kinds of things. Yeah, water guns. We're like, does church here want guns? I don't know. Maybe they will this year. And so, because like, well, the kids will be like naturally like running from, like they're naturally like running from each other, and like the stream. Because we thought like, would balloons be better? No, because everybody has to like touch a common thing. But if you have your own like water gun, like you're kind of on your own. So we thought about those kinds of things just for summertime. But I mean, luckily it's really hot here in the summer, so that's nice. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, we've even talked about like when the time comes that we can like maybe do something outdoors. Even, I mean, this is kind of silly, but putting hula hoops on the ground and you have to stay within your hula hoop, like things like that, just to, maintain, because it's hard to keep people apart, and it's going to be hard. And yeah, Catherine.
So my YMCA has started having some outdoor classes. We can't go in yet, but they've started doing these 30-minute outside classes. And so they have actually like spray painted on the soccer field these giant squares with an X in the middle, which is where you're supposed to stand when you're working out. And you're like so far apart from everybody else, but that might be an idea too, if you don't have a supply of hula hoops, but you have access to some paint.
Just out of curiosity, how many of your churches have like either a preschool as part of it or daycare? No? Okay, so we've got a few on here. So I know at least, okay, thank you, Jennifer. So at least here in Ohio, the guidelines are starting to come out for that. And I know, again, in Ohio, like things will change, because right now, 10 is the maximum number of people that are supposed to be congregating, but some specific guidelines of less than that have come out for like a daycare type setting. So I don't know if any of you, if that's part of your job responsibilities to be looking at that. No. Yeah, Bronwyn, yeah. You got it all.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've talked about, adding fencing. We've talked about usually like the younger classes and the older classes, there's a part where they like play all together on the playground, but we think, well, we'll probably have to readjust our whole schedule so that the kids are only out of the class, like one class is out at a time. And then, I mean, like, it's going to be impossible to physically distance preschoolers. So we're going to do our best. But I know California licensing regulations are pretty stringent. Luckily, I don't have to deal with the regulations. I just have to deal with some of the other parts. But yeah, I think that'll also drive what we do on Sunday mornings, because the more things we could put in place for preschool, and we could also utilize those for Sunday mornings. But it's, we don't really know. We don't even know if we're starting on time in person. So
right.
That's a part of it.
Yeah, I know in Ohio, there's like a state call today for like preschool directors or whatever, but yeah, we certainly don't know that information at this point. All right, what else do you have going on?
End of last week at Ability Ministry, we launched our next free video-driven curriculum series called Be Healthy. It focuses on our 4 areas of physical, mental, emotional, and oh gosh, spiritual health. Oh my gosh, thank you. So yes, yeah, I just wrote that. I should remember that. But yeah, we just released that. It's available for free. I'll post the link in the chat. So I know some of you on this call have downloaded it already, and we're actively writing the next series. It's going to be called Be Strong. So essentially how to be strong in difficult times of our lives. So we're just trying to create relevant content for churches to use, because we know that every state's different. Some people are getting back to meeting in person, but others, if they're not going to be meeting in person for 2 years, they're going to need some content to use. So we're happy to be able to make that available for free for the time being. So yeah, go out, grab it, download it, use it. We'd love to know how it works for you. It's essentially our curriculum, but a little bit abbreviated and more video driven. So yeah, go grab it.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for sharing that. And he did put the link. So it's abilityministry.com/product/be healthy. Great. Thank you. What other, while there's a lull, what other trainings / discussions / connection opportunities do any of your ministries have going on? I'm looking at Catherine to share what Key Ministry is doing. And then Doc, if you'd like to share what SOAR is up to, and anybody else that knows of opportunities that we can all learn from, please share. So Catherine, do you want to start? Oh, go ahead. Or Heather, or Catherine, Heather, somebody.
Heather, you go ahead, and then I'll go after you.
I can't remember if I've already shared this. If I have, please forgive me. I'm on several of these calls, but one thing.
Share away. We like to hear things more than once.
One thing that has been extremely helpful is that we have families that we re-register every year or so to kind of scrub the database, make sure we have relevant information. We live in a military town and surrounding towns, so people come and go very often. And so that way our lists are accurate and our database is up to date. And the one thing that I have had extreme success with is reaching out to families who did not re-register. These are families that many of them just haven't been, and we all know that when we haven't been, then we slip into that that habit of not going, or it's just awkward because then you've not been in so long, then it's just easier to stay away. And for a lot of our families in the disability community, sometimes staying away it ends up being a little bit longer, and then sometimes they don't come back. So what I've been doing is, if families didn't re-register but have been on our rosters, I was able to contact those families and invite them to our bingo game every Tuesday. That has been really a great way to reach out to families. These are families that may not have been able to attend because of behavioral or just things going on in their family and scheduling and things like that, but they've been able to communicate and kind of get back together with our group. And when we are able to get back together, it won't be so strange because we all will have known one another. And we've had several families that have committed to coming back to us whenever that happens, because they realize that it's going to be strange for everybody, and everybody's going to kind of be starting over from ground zero. So those families that we're able to reach out to, they just feel, two parents especially have said, you know, our kids stopped participating in church with other peers whenever they left children's ministry. And so now coming back together, some of them are in middle school. And so I know we had talked to Ryan one time before. He's a great resource for churches, but he talked to us about putting them in groups where the kids are with their peers. And we're not quite there yet with our middle school and high school, but we do have an older class, middle school and high school and adult. And that has just been great to get those kids back together, because they don't see each other in schools, and they may not be in the SNAP program, which is the special needs athletic program that we have. So it's just been a great way to connect families and get kids back together that are no longer seeing one another.
I am so glad you brought that up, Heather. Thanks for sharing. I think one of the blessings of this pandemic is that it has given us that opportunity to reach out and include families that, for whatever reason, you know, you mentioned behavioral, it could be medical, scheduling, whatever, that haven't been attending church. And so that's really, truly been, at least for me, like that's been a blessing in this whole weird, annoying time. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. Really quickly before we start talking about other things coming up, Allison pointed out for the water games, you can use empty dishwashing bottles instead of guns. And then you've just solved that problem. So thank you. There, that was worth your price of admission right there.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're a very anti-weapons sort of town. So that might
it's the British heritage. There you go. That's what we do in Britain.
Love it. See, we're international. Thank you for sharing that. Catherine, are you ready to talk about what Key Ministry is up to?
Yeah, definitely. Hang on a second. I'm going to make sure that I tell you exactly the right thing. So I need to look at what I'm telling you. Well, so we are having Wednesday webinars or discussions at this, you know, Beth already mentioned that this upcoming week we're doing our more traditional video roundtable discussion about virtual respite. But then next week we're back to the roundtable, I'm sorry, scratch that. We're back to the webinar format on Wednesday, May 27th. And this time we're going to be talking about grieving and celebrating in this time of COVID-19 for young adults, many of whom have been, you know, either have totally missed out on graduations and that sort of thing, or, you know, they're definitely delayed for everyone. So we're going to be talking with Skip McDonald. She writes for Key Ministry sometimes, and she is just a wealth of great information. She's on staff with InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. She runs at least a couple of different mentoring teams on a couple of different colleges, and I think she's actually responsible for maybe 5 or 6 different states in the Southeast with what InterVarsity is doing on college campuses. She's an author and a speaker. She's also a nurse. So she just has a lot of great insight and information and has her finger on the pulse of what's going on with college students. And so she'll have some ideas as well about how, you know, folks who maybe aren't having the best time with, you know, what they anticipated for celebrating, you know, these milestones. She'll have some ideas about, you know, how those celebrations can still continue, and you know, definitely it will be an encouraging time. She's a great encourager. So if you're interested in that, please do go to our events page and sign up, because it is set up as a webinar format. We'll be live streaming on Facebook, and we'll definitely be recording and posting on our YouTube and Vimeo page later.
And I'll just talk about the next week. So the first Wednesday of each month, the topic that we do, we try to make more parent focused. And we are going to be talking with a few, this will be a webinar format, streaming live on the, Key Ministry actually has 2 Facebook pages. So there's the Key Ministry one for ministry folks, and then there's Not Alone Parenting, which is like our parent focused Facebook page. So it'll be streamed on there. But we're going to talk about like summer vacation ideas, and how are families going to, what are families thinking right now, and what are some ideas. So so that'll be the first Wednesday in June. Doc, do you want to share what you have going on, and then we'll get over to what Al's sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. First, though, before I do that, I just want to piggyback on something that Heather said, and something that I learned that came up from one of our Talk with Docs just a couple of weeks ago, and that was with our moms panel. And it's something that all of us are doing, and that's contacting our families. And again, I highly, recommend that we're all calling our families. But I had a huge aha moment during that panel discussion, and the fact that several of the moms all shared that even though they know it's not the case, they feel they're just a check mark on the box, that you're just calling them to check a box and that's all it is. And so it's important that you go into depth. And one of the things that, that we've done a lot is we actually take time and pray with them. And they said that's one thing that makes it feel, okay, it's not a check on the box. But where I got hit between the eyes is if you don't follow back up after leaving a phone call, after leaving a message. And, there have been many times I find myself, well, I leave a message, hey, call us, and that all great intentions, but, we're all busy and I don't always get to circle back around and call again. All of these moms said, yeah, we definitely feel like, we were just a check mark on the box. You checked the box, you called us, and you moved on, and you really don't care about us. So if you ever are going through and making calls and you do leave a message, there's nothing wrong with leaving a message. Please make sure you follow back up and actually contact them again, or go again, and you may need to leave another message. And even when you leave that second message, it may even be a good thing to just say a quick prayer on the message, pray for them on that message. Again, it then helps them feel that they're not just a check mark on a box. So little side note there that I really learned a lot from our talk a couple of weeks ago that hopefully you can apply to your ministry as you move forward and really help our families, because they are needing so much help. I want to tell you about our next 3 Talk with Docs. We've got some great topics coming up. This week, I've got Sandra Peoples coming on, and we're going to be talking on supporting typical siblings. And I think that's a huge topic that we just don't address too much. And we need to learn both as ministries, how we can be supporting typical siblings, and then families, helping them in supporting the typical siblings as well. So both parts, Sandra is going to be on, and it's going to be a great talk with that. The following week, excited for that one. I'm going to have a dads panel on, and we're going to be, talking with dads, and just have a couple things. One, how we can maybe incorporate dads into things more, encourage dads to step up to the plate a little bit more, and then just hearing more from dads and learning with that. And then in 3 weeks, the one that I'm really excited about, we're going to do disability ministry learning how to lead in the new normal, because we're the way we lead now in disability ministry is changed, period. It's not going to be back to the same. It just isn't. So we're going to have a panel, and we're going to be talking through how we need to start looking at leading differently and doing ministry differently. So encourage all of you to be a part of that. Also, just throw out, we've got our Wonderfully Made conference coming up in October. Excited, it's going to be online, so everyone will be able to, do that from your own home or office there. We can still do take some speakers. If any of you are interested, would love to have you. Just let me know. You can email me at doc@soarspecialneeds.com, SOAR specialneeds.com. But we're going to have both a family track and special needs disability ministry track for that. Several people on this call here are going to be speakers with that. So we're excited about all that. And otherwise, we're busy putting together a virtual camp for this summer that we'll make available for all of you to share with your families, as well as we're trying to figure out how to do virtual respite as well and make that available. So that's what's coming from us.
Great, thank you. So slacking, you are not. Thank you for what you do. So Al, do you want me to share what you put in the chat? You're muted, so you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, this past Saturday, there was a national Zoom Fathers event. It was put out by the Special Fathers Network, and Willow Creek Church sponsored it as well. I think there are men from 40 states on it, from what they said, in several countries. So one good thing about the COVID-19 is a lot more people from all over the place could participate that couldn't make it to Chicago necessarily. It was like trying to drink water from a fire hydrant. There were like 5 to 10 minute teachings on a ton of stuff. Dr. Gersovich gave a great teaching about COVID-19 and the effects on families. But yeah, they're out of that. They're doing twice a month, June, July, and August, the first and third Tuesdays, Zoom gatherings, teachings. I think they'll break into small groups as well. Part of their purpose is to get men into small groups, and with COVID-19, the groups will be kind of spread out from all over the place, which is a cool thing. So yeah, they did a survey of everyone, and these are the 6 topics that were most needed. So they came up with topics as well for that. So I don't work for them, but I really appreciated the event, and I think very highly of what they're doing, and I hope to be involved with that. Great. As a special needs dad.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. So let me just fill you in on what's going on in the chat. So first of all, Al mentioned Dr. Gersovich. So that's Dr. Steve Gersovich. He's actually the president and founder of Key Ministry. So if you're not familiar, and you can, if you go to keyministry.org and look at our blogs, he writes very regular blog posts, so you can get an idea of what he's been thinking about and working on. It's pretty good stuff. So the Special Fathers Network, the upcoming topics, gatherings, June 2nd, dad meetup groups, June 16th, estate and financial planning, July 7th, finding employment and purpose, July 21st, sibling and family balance, August 4th, being emotionally present, August 18th, housing and suitable living arrangements. So those look like some really good topics, and you can go to www.21stcenturydads.org to get the info and to register. And see, Tracy's saying regarding Doc's encouragement to have real conversation with families instead of just calling to check them off the list. Oh, you did the porch portraits. Where are you? There you are. Hi. Okay, great. Yay. So she did the porch portraits this weekend. Photos took 15 minutes, but every single family sat far away from her in the front yard and chatted for 20, 30, 45 minutes afterwards. It was precious time. Okay, I'm going to cry. It was precious time. Just echoing the voices that say many families are really longing for personal connection. That is awesome. Okay, I'm seriously a little getting misty. Okay, really cool, very cool. You got some good thumbs up in the chat for that. So thank you. I'm so glad that that went well. Very cool. Heather says we have multi-generational families, and one rule of thumb I use is PTE repeat: phone, text, email, and repeat. Oh, that's a good way to remember it. PTE repeat. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. And I know like some families won't answer a number they don't recognize, but then hopefully then the text and the email will prompt them to do so.
Hey, can I throw out something, Beth, real quick?
Yeah.
So another shout out, I guess, for Ed Stetzer. You know, he's the head of, I guess he's the Billy Graham chair at Wheaton or something to that effect, if you're not familiar with his work. And so I follow him on social media just to, you know, find out things that he's doing that might be of interest to Key Ministry. And so one thing he did last week was he tweeted a question about, you know, for churches that are reopening, you know, what's it been like? You know, are people coming? Are people, you know, staying engaged with the online church, et cetera? So, you know, people in Albany were responding, and one person from a fairly large church, not sure where it was or who it was that said this, but they had reopened, and you know, they had everybody sitting far apart from one another, but they had 4 new families, and these were families that had joined online. You know, they had been checking things out online, and so they showed up in person on Sunday morning. So I mean, as we start to open, hopefully that's going to be a common story. And you know, because I think churches have really tried hard to be able to be present in their communities and supportive of their communities. So, you know, just throw that out to encourage all of you on the call as well.
That's very cool. Thank you. Bronwyn, did you have something?
Oh, I would say to the point of, you know, families wanting to have real connections. So this last Saturday, we were supposed to have like a respite event, but obviously we didn't. So on Friday night, we brought pizzas. We delivered pizzas to all of our families who would have normally been coming, or families doing that. And it was funny because, you know, we had to buy this like pizza in really mass quantity and make it really accessible, like easy pickup and all that. So we picked Little Caesars, which, like, you know, my kids like it, but it's kind of like, you know, low on the totem pole in terms of quality. But like families just couldn't stop talking about it. Like we put a card in there, and we had like 4 buddies, including myself. We delivered them with like masks and gloves and all that. And then a couple families who we know have significant food allergies, we just made pasta and salad and brought that to them instead of the pizza. But it was just, I mean, we're like, this little like $7 pizza, you know, on the doorstep really meant a lot to people with the connection, because, you know, we got a lot of feedback about it. And they say, you know, it felt like somebody saw me, right? It felt like someone saw me. You know, this week was really hard with my kids, or my kids got out of the pool and they were fighting, and suddenly there's a pizza on my doorstep. And so, yeah, just that connection, right? Of, you know, people really, you know, we're on week 10 now of this, and I'm sure you guys are similar numbers. So, you know, week 10, people are really struggling. So, you know, a $7 pizza really did make people's day. So it's just interesting, you know, how, you know, a couple months ago, maybe, pizza, okay. But now that's like that's what they really wanted. So I like that portrait idea. If I was a photographer, maybe, but who knows how they'd come out. So we're delivering pizza instead. I'm better at that.
And I think the element here that, you know, that you kind of both alluded to, it's that personal connection. I mean, you delivered the pizzas, and you took the pictures. So I think I don't think it matters so much what you're delivering. It's that personal connection. And I just like to say, yeah, week 10, but yeah, you can go swimming in your backyard. So, you know, like Ohio, it's finally getting warm here. So
yeah, we're not snowstorming it. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, it's already 10 till. I can't believe it. All right, let me just talk for a second about what you'd like to do going forward. So this coming Monday is Memorial Day. And so I was thinking, like, we'll not meet. What I'm going to do this week, like hopefully the next couple days, is send all of you who have, you know, registered for these idea shares, send you a little survey to get your feedback on what you might want to see going forward. when we first set this up, we were picturing it was just going to be a couple weeks of this. And, you know, I think it's amazing that we're however many weeks into this and we're still getting, you know, a couple dozen people jumping on every time. So please look for that email. It'll be coming from beth@keyministry.org, but I'm sending it through MailChimp, which means it might go to your like promotions, or I don't want to say spam, but like that where your some email goes. So be on the lookout for that. And then whatever you all, you know, decide is what we'll do going forward. So any last minute things before we go? All right, I hope to see like everybody on Wednesday, because I think that I'm really excited to learn from you on Wednesday about virtual respite. So again, keyministry.org/events to register for that. And, you know, hopefully we'll continue to see each other depending on what you all decide. But again, I thank you for taking this time each week. It means a lot to me as a ministry leader, and I just really appreciate everybody showing up and sharing what's going on. So thank you. So, all right, well, we'll end it for today, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you.